Hello there, my name is Hocus Pocus, and welcome back to the Minecraft LP series. As you guys know, this is episode 150, and that means that we are set for another world tour and another world download. And just before we kick things off here, let me just tell you the world download is in the description. You can head down there right now at the end of the video, at any time during the video, and download this world for yourself if you would like to check it out on your system, which I would definitely suggest that you do, because there are a lot of things that maybe we won't cover in too much depth here. You might want to go check them out for yourselves, so I'd strongly advise that. Anyway, 10 months ago, November 21st, 2018, this world came to life and we started the building process. And since then, we've come a long, long way. We've come a long, long way indeed. So without further ado, I think we should kick the tour off right here in the Ravine Station. This is the very first place that we basically decided that the base was permanently going to stay here. So the Ravine Station, it opens up into a huge ravine in which we are building our current world. And as you can see, there is a few things going on around here that I will go over in some more detail just shortly. But this system is very simple. There are 3 levers, and each of these 3 colors lead to a different location, with no lever being pulled, leading us to the mine, which is off in that direction over there. So generally what we'll do is we'll enter the station, chop the cart, place it on the other side, jump in, hit the button, and off we go. But just yet, we haven't actually configured any of these colors to lead us anywhere exactly. So you can see that this entrance here, this entrance here, and this entrance here will be the 3 colors. And yeah, we actually set this up very long time ago, and we're still yet to use it. So we should probably think about maybe setting up a couple of locations that we can color code. Having some rails running around our world would be pretty damn cool. So I think that's something we'll definitely get around to doing. Anyway, that's the Ravine Station, and you saw a little bit over there as well. There is one more feature that I will quickly show you. So we've got a small fish tank, and this has been here since the very beginning as well. I think all of the fish in there are original fish from the 1.13 update. So that's a pretty cool feature. And what the levers do, they'll actually rotate this piece of track here, this piece of track here, and this piece of track here, just so that it will guide you off in a different direction if you so desire. However, for the most part, as I say, we're just using the no lever because we don't have these set up to go anywhere. And anyway, moving on. Taking a right turn will lead you into the small storage area. Now, this is a storage area that is supposed to be for convenient access. So everything is labeled pretty ambiguously. So Nether building blocks, for example, will contain anything that you can gather from the Nether. Terracotta, clay, and concrete, there's 3 different block types in that one, and so on and so forth. On this side, we've generally got more items rather than blocks. So you can see food and agriculture is full of anything that we can eat and grow and that kind of stuff. And we've got things like armor, tools, ores, ingots, minerals. I'll show you this chest because a lot of people are interested in seeing just how much stuff we've managed to mine. And this isn't all of it either. There is a lot more around the world used as beacon bases. There's some in the iron farm. We've got more iron in storage, and we've also got a bunch of ores over in the treasure room, which I'll show you later on. And then finally, at the back of the room, we've got a small block swapper. Nothing too crazy, but it's kind of cool, right? We can just have a basic looking wall, or we can hit the button and have access to a crafting bench, which is always useful in an area where you like to store items, because crafting is an activity that takes place often. So what you then want to do if you're coming out of the small storage room is check out the deep storage room, and that is opened with a 3x3 piston door, rather cool. And that's how it closes. And then on the inside of this room, we have got ourselves some storage. As I say, it is the deep storage room after all, so that's not a big surprise, is it? Let's be honest. But we've just got things in here that we have in mass quantities. So anything like cobblestone, for example, which we've got tons of, we're just storing in here. And I say we've got tons of it. There's actually quite a few empty chests, but that's fine. We've got a bunch of sand, stone, that kind of thing, prismarine from the Guardian farm, which we'll get to later on. And again, this is one of those rooms, you'll see these quite frequently, one of those rooms that we will eventually expand. But right now there isn't that much of a need to, so we'll probably leave it as it is for the time being. And then when needs comes to musts, we will go ahead and break off in this direction and expand it. But you can see this room was heavily inspired by a room from Etho's LP world. You guys probably will guess which room I'm talking about if you've seen the LP series. And I didn't do as good a job as he did. There is no doubt about that. But I really do like the way that this room turned out. So yeah, that's 2 storage rooms right there. Right in the entrance of our base, so pretty convenient for access and all that kind of stuff. And then heading on this way, we've got a simple sugarcane farm. You can hit the button and harvest that, and then standing on the pressure plate gives you access to the storage. On the other side of the hallway, we've got the redstone closet, which is a storage system for redstone items. So anything in here is redstone related, and it just kind of keeps everything separate because we like to use redstone a lot in this world for our builds. So I figured that if we keep it separate, then, you know, it's a little bit easier to access and find what we need when we require it. So I was going to come back to this because the slime block launcher doesn't work. As you can see, this only worked for a few days before an update came into play and it got broken. So what we'll do instead is actually just fly up there, but you're supposed to be able to use those launchers to get up here. It doesn't work, as I say. We need to figure out an alternative way to get up, but for now I just fly most of the time. And then crossing the bridge will lead you into the animal sanctuary, which doesn't only contain animals. As you can see, there's a guy right here that we don't really want in the room, and there's probably some other guys around here that we don't particularly want in the room, but you know what, we don't spend too much time up here, so I'm not too fussed about that. But we've just got the key kind of friendly mobs, so we've got chickens, we've got pigs, we've got cows. I did have plans to put some llamas in here and some rabbits over here, but I just really haven't got around to it just yet. So that's something for the future. And it looks like right now we've actually got a creeper in this pen here. So, well, he doesn't exist any longer, but for a moment there we had a creeper pen, which was kind of funny. And then off to the side here, we've just got a small storage column that allows us to store any of the items that we'll be using and looting in this room. So pretty much anything that the cows, pigs, and chickens will give us and eat. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that. So we also did have this butcher's axe, which I was going to use to kill the animals, but then I realized that actually there aren't too many interesting enchantments for axes in the game in terms of damage output. So it kind of just sits in there right now and probably won't get much use. All right, so I figure that this is probably the next logical way to go up the stairs here to the left, so we will take those up, and if we follow them all of the way to the end, this brings us to the smelting system. So what you'll do is you'll pop anything that you want to smelt in the top 2 chests here, pull the lever, they will be dispersed amongst the furnaces, which then cook them, and everything will make its way into the chest down below. You can also restock these with coal by putting coal into the chest here and sending them out, and again that will just equally disperse coal amongst the furnaces, and this just allows you to smelt 14 items simultaneously rather than just one at a time, which is it makes things a little bit faster. But we've got something even cooler than this now outside, which follows the same kind of principles but just on a much larger scale, and we'll get to that a bit later on in the video. So coming down this alleyway and down the stairs, we've got a small semi-secret entrance here. So if you stand next to this guy and right click it, it will bring you down into this 1x1 entryway that is very slow to progress through because of the crawling animation, but it's okay. Again, we don't really come into this room all that often, but this is actually the storage area for our slime farm. So in these chests you'll find a bunch of slime balls, and the way this works, if we just pop through here, is that there are 2 minecarts with hoppers that run underneath the magma blocks here. Any slimes that spawn will naturally jump over to the magma blocks, kill themselves, and then their slime balls will be harvested automatically, brought into this room, and anytime one of those hopper minecarts is full, it will dispense the items out and into the system right here. Okay guys, so coming back up the stairs away from the entrance to the slime farm, we've got one more room in this vicinity. And unfortunately, the purpose of this room no longer exists, and I explained this in a recent episode. So this was a small house that we built for a mending villager that we had in our base, but I believe that this block right here, if we just check the F3 screen, where's the light? Yes, so the light on this block is 6, which is enough to spawn mobs, and what I am assuming happened is that a zombie spawned, killed the villager, and then the zombie despawned. So unfortunately no mending villager at the moment, but we will replace him eventually. And as I say, that was just a small home, kind of like a little not a joke necessarily, but like a small designed fixture just to keep him in so that we didn't have a scruffy looking area of the base. But as I say, we'll replace him eventually and hopefully get a better trade. He was okay, I think around 12 emeralds for the book, but hopefully we can get something similar or better if possible. And then in this area, we don't have too much else, just a small bridge, and that leads to the back end of that house. The house was originally a storage area for villagers that we were bringing down into the base. So it kind of leads into the back here. This was like the storage cell. They would come down through this chute from a farm that we had on the surface, and then we would move them into a small trading hall that we had in here. But we've recently renovated this room, so that's why things have changed slightly. And we could probably go ahead and mix this room up a little bit as well, maybe change it into something else in due course, right? Okay, so coming across the bridge, that is one way to enter into the dark oak tree farm. Another way to enter is down here into this small opening and then up the water stream. That brings you again out into the dark oak tree farm. And again, this is very simple, just a tree farm, as I say. And this is what provided us with all of the dark oak that we used to build this base. We got ourselves a nice beacon in here, which gives us the speed 2 effect so that we can get around certain areas of the base at a quicker pace. We got a small pond here with a few fish in it. Quite a cool little design feature. And then 10 of the dark oak trees and a nice huge roof that allows everything, or I should say ceiling, a nice tall huge ceiling that allows everything to grow in here correctly, which is very nice indeed. So what we'll do now is we'll take a right at the end of this pathway before we head off into a separate area of the base over there. So if we take a right, we've got a couple things going on here. On the right hand side, we've got ourselves an automatic cactus farm. Everything in this farm is collected in a bunch of chests down here, but it's overflowing, and that is why there is so many cactus entities just kind of stranded in the middle here. We probably need to do something about that, but I'm kind of lazy, so we'll just let it be for now. Heading into this room is the transition to our nether portal, which we will go and explore a bit further later on. If we pass through the nether portal and come down the stairs, I just drew my sword in case there are any mobs. It's kind of dark down here. We've got ourselves an automatic nether wart farm. So this thing works by, first of all, you hit this button, the water will dispense and push everything down into a collection system below. So once every piece of nether wart has made its way down, we can turn the water off again. And that leaves us with an empty patch of soul sand to plant again. And then finally, you hit this button, that sends out some minecarts, which we might be able to see if we're quick. They should be down there somewhere. There it goes. All right. And then in just a second, items should begin pouring into the system. And there we go. So what we will then do is replant, but I won't bore you guys with that just now. That's pretty much it for that area. So heading back up the stairs, we can take a left, and this will take us down towards the wool farm. So when 1.14 came out and we were able to shear sheep using dispensers, I went ahead and built this automatic wool farm, and it contains every single piece of, every single color of wool. So there are 16 different colors. We've got 3 of each color of sheep. So what happens is when they eat the grass, an observer will update these observers at the back, which are connected to pistons, which then sends a signal through to the dispensers. And if you fill those dispensers with shears, it will automatically harvest the wool. And then underneath this entire room, we've got a track that winds through it. And the track contains a hopper minecart, which will then finish up here, dispense any items it's collected into a water stream. And you can see the cart just came back, but since it didn't collect anything, nothing was dispensed. And then the water stream will transport all of the wool items into their respective silos. So you can see we've got 16 different silos in here, 1 for each color of wool. And I always say that this is one of my favorite rooms in the base just because of how the ceiling looks. It looks very grand, and I really like the way it turned out. Basically, for such a simple room, it turned out quite well, and you can see that we've got every single color of wool available. And all in all, as I say, one of my favorite rooms in the base. And that is pretty much it for this end of things. So we will head back towards the tree farm right now, which you can do by passing back through this corridor here. And then if we transfer across to the other side of the room and take this pathway, this will lead us into the second ravine. So funnily enough, we actually found there's actually 2 ravines here, and I'll show you guys right now. So we've got one that runs this way, and then it is intersected by a much smaller one that runs in that direction. So we've kind of began to expand the base over here, and the first room that we built was this AFK fishing farm. So we've got the AFK farm itself in the center of the room, and we should probably sleep because it is nighttime. And the reason why I can tell that is because, okay, did we not sleep properly then? Okay, there they are. So the reason why I could tell is because the villagers were not visible, which means they were sleeping. And these guys are just fishermen. They trade a couple of the items that you can get from the AFK fishing farm here. So I just popped a couple of them in there. Is this guy... Alright, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. Perhaps... Yeah, okay, there he is. Alright. So when you stand on the pressure plate, the glass retracts, then you can kind of open that trapdoor to get access to the villager. And as I say, they just buy a few of the items that you can get from this farm. And then over here on each side of the room, we've just got some barrels to store the items in. And that's pretty much it. It's a very simple room once again. Doesn't have too much function aside from the fish farm. And moving on. Unfortunately, I've got to take frequent breaks here because my voice tends to run out after speaking for a long time. And then my throat gets dry and things start to get funny. So if there's a lot of cuts, I'm sorry. Hopefully there won't be too many, because I kind of want to keep this this thing moving. Anyway, this is the dog pen, and we've got only a single doggy at the moment. We should give him some friends at some point. His name is Ferdinand McGumphrey. He's a good boy. He's got his water here and just a small area to run and play in, but generally he likes to sit on his bed. Something like that. Yeah, this room isn't anything too special, just to keep the dogs in, because obviously I don't really want them following me around, and there isn't any other option aside from follow or sit, so they're going to sit in there and be happy for the rest of their days. Okay, 2 more rooms here. So on the left we've got a simple carrot farm. This thing functions through the press of a button. So you press the button, the water flows across on each level, and the carrots all fall down into this hopper collection system. And then similarly to the netherwort farm, you can hit it once again, the water disperses, and everything just builds up in a few chests that we've got set up here. So you can see carrots, carrots, carrots. And the combination of carrots with the gold from the gold farm is how we feed ourselves with the golden carrots. So this is one aspect of that. We are probably going to take this up to the ceiling of the ravine at some point, but right now this is incomplete. And if you ever do want to come inside and restock the carrot farm, you can open this door right here. And there's a bit of a maintenance passage with a ladder that leads up to the different floors so that you can replant the carrots and all that good stuff. So opposite the carrot farm, we've got the enchanting and repairing room. So down here, we've got our small enchanting setup, little hatch to get in. We've got ourselves some lapis, the enchanting table, and a couple of books just in case you want to re-roll the table. Okay, very simple, very simple. And then at the back, we've got a small pond with a few fish in. I did have a lot more, but I think a lot of them died. They were named some funny things as well, but I don't even remember. Anyway, up the stairs, we've got the repair station, just a simple anvil. You can pop items in, rename them, repair them, add enchantments, all that good stuff. You guys know how anvils work. And again, this room is really cool looking in my opinion. We've got all of this different texture going on. It's kind of like a natural cave opening. That's what I was going for with this room. And it's a similar theme to both Ferdinand McGumphrey's area and the animal farm back in the original ravine. So yeah, the theme's relatively the same, as you guys can probably tell. And then finally, we've got the treasure room, and this archway here to get into the treasure room is something I probably am going to change. I'm not particularly happy with how it works. How it looks is what I was supposed to say. How it looks. I'm not happy with how it looks, so we'll probably change that at some point. But this room is designed to store ores. So you can see we've got coal, redstone, lapis. We've got no emerald, I'm guessing. Yep, we've got a bunch of diamond ore, some nether quartz, and then anytime you need any of these items, you can just come into this room, switch to the efficiency and fortune pickaxe, place down the ore. So you'd probably do something like this. You'd grab the redstone, and then you'd place it like this. So it's a nice big flat open area so that you can place a bunch of ores down, and then you can just come along and tear through it with the fortune pickaxe to restock anything that you might be running a little bit low on. So that's the idea behind that room. Very simple, needs a lot of work still, but this part of the base, as you can see, is very incomplete and requires a lot of attention. So I think what we'll do now is we will head above ground because we've seen pretty much everything down here. That's as far as we've gotten so far with the ravine base. So I'll catch you guys in just a second. So I figured that we'll start over here at the minecart. Hop in and take a journey so that you guys can quickly see how things look along this route. It's nothing too interesting, but it shows you how to leave the base and get to the surface of the world. So heading through this small tunnel-like fixture, I guess. You will see we've got a bit of lighting, bit of design, that kind of thing. Then the station finishes right here. You can exit through this door. On your right hand side, you've got the mine. So this is our branch mine. You can head down here, do a bit of branch mining. We don't use that too much anymore because beacons are a lot more powerful and effective. And then we got a few furnaces, some storage, and a crafting bench. So the way you can leave the base is either to fly up, which I usually do, or you can use the ladder. So we're going to fly in this instance. And out we come. And that will lead us outside where we have a lot of interesting stuff going on. So the first thing we'll take a look at is this small pagoda area. This is the entrance / exit to the base, as I say. And then from here, we can head up the stairs towards the outdoor house. I think I called it the house on the hill. I don't actually remember. But this thing was built from a mythical sausage tutorial with a few slight adjustments for my preference. But this is a very nice build indeed. We haven't finished terraforming around the outside, which we probably should get around to, as this build was completed quite a long time ago now. But you know how these things are. You can get lazy pretty quickly trying to fix them up. So we'll take a quick look inside. But this house wasn't designed for living in. This house was designed for storage purposes. So on the inside, it's very basic, not too much in terms of an interior, just a bed. You can actually head out the back here. There's a small porch type area with some of our skeletal horses. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in total. Pretty cool. And then on this floor, we've got some rockets, some of the scaffolding, 2 empty chests. I'll probably put something similar in there. It's just things that we need quick access to whilst we're outside. And then on the upper layer, we've got a bunch of chests that contain similar descriptors to the chests down in the ravine base. So we've got things like dyes, food and agriculture, miscellaneous tools. We've got mob loot, nether building blocks, miscellaneous armor, that kind of stuff. Same over here, but I haven't labeled any of them yet. And this is the purpose of the house pretty much, is just to be an external storage system. So anytime we're outside, we can use this place to store items and to gain items if we need them. So that's it for the house. If we exit the pagoda in this direction, it will take you on this small pathway towards the mob farm, which is that ginormous thing up there. And then the mob farm storage system, which is this thing on the left-hand side. So the mob farm is this is a Nembon design, I'm pretty sure. And what happens is you'll stand up in a glass capsule, which we can't actually see. You'll flip a lever on the top of the farm and the mobs will be pushed off using water and they'll just fall down into this pit here. Eventually die and all of their items are collected in a storage system down below, which then feeds items, don't want that egg, into this system here. So we've color coded the storage. We've got light green for creepers, white for skeletons. We've got black for spiders, so you can kind of see where this is going, right? We've got green for zombies, and then finally the purple here is for witches. So all of the items stored correspond to the mob from which they are dropped, and that is pretty much it for the mob farm. But we can also head up these stairs here, and this will take us to the monument to commemorate us hitting 100 subscribers, which happened on the 6th of April 2019. And obviously since then we've come a long way. We've got the 100 subscriber diamond, as well as a small book with the names of some of you guys who were here for that event. So there's a few of you in here, and I know a bunch of you want your name in the 1000 subscriber book as well, so we'll eventually get that done at some point. I'm thinking actually after we're finished with the world tour and we move into the next episode, I do have something planned for 1000 subscribers. But this area also gives you quite a nice view of a few of the builds out here. You can take a look down to their house. We've got the bamboo farm over there, which we'll come to in just a second. Our wheat field, the sugarcane farm, again, something we'll come to. And actually, you know what? We'll head right over to the sugarcane farm right now. That's the word I'm looking for. So the opposite direction takes you over towards the sugarcane farm. And then you got this small intersection. So the way this farm works is using flying machines, and it can be activated by hitting these buttons here, or possibly the ones on the other side. That might be where the flying machines are. So let's go take a look. Oops. And then if we hit this button. Okay, yep, that definitely worked. I can hear them doing some work now. So if we take a look, you can see the flying machines will come along, harvest the farm, pushing all of the items off into the channels here. And then once it's made its way all of the way across, we'll probably send it back just so that any items that are trapped on top of the bushes there will be knocked off into the channels. So let's just send it back like so. And you can see it begins to push items down into the channels. And then if you come down to this pathway here again and hit this button in the center, That will send the carts on their way, they will collect the items, and once they return, they will all be dispensed into a water stream, which is hidden somewhere under this wiring. And eventually the sugarcane will make its way down into a hidden storage system that isn't under that one, it's under this piece of gravel, I'm sure. And you can see it's slowly, again, beginning to build up some sugarcane that we often use to make rockets, paper, that kind of thing. You know, sugarcane isn't that useful, but we're never going to run out with a farm like this, I'm sure. Alright, so following on from the sugarcane farm, I just quickly wanted to skip the night away. We can head over towards the iron farm, which has had its ups and downs, but it seems to be working fairly consistently again. We'll just check how much iron we've got in there. So a decent amount, right? It's not loads, but it also is very helpful to have this iron just flowing into the system. And the way that this iron farm works, you can see it is slightly broken because golems shouldn't be spawning down here. There's no way for us to kill them unless they wander into this lava pit here. But the way this farm works, if we head up, is that we have cells containing villagers on the left and the right, and the iron golems are then supposed to spawn in the only spawnable area, which should be in the water, but unfortunately it's not at the moment. And then once they spawn in the water, they come all the way down the system and into the lava pit, which then kills them and gives us the iron in this small storage system we built down below. So it's relatively straightforward, uses basic mechanics in the game to allow us to harvest them. We've got a broken villager breeder over here, which I'm not even going to bother showing you in detail because, as I say, it doesn't work. So what we'll do now is we'll head over towards the bamboo farm, which is one of the latest builds in the world. And what we want to do is come down here, use the pathway that we built in the last episode through the wheat field. Got ourselves a little scarecrow there as well. And then if we come across the bridge, which I really like this bridge, actually. I think we did a great job of that. And then you want to come up over the side here. And you can see the bamboo farm is very, very big. It's not one of those single block type zero tick farms. This is a flying machine based farm. So the way this works is you want to come into the farm. And I'm not actually going to activate it because it really lags the world out. And I don't want to do that on this video. But similarly to the sugarcane farm, you activate the observer here, and usually I activate it using a flint and steel, just light a fire above the observer, and the thing kicks off, moves all the way down and all the way back. And then if we can make our way over to the other side, it might actually be worth us flying to the other side, just because it's a pain in the butt to get through the bamboo. Alright, that'll do us. And if we come over to this side, hop down into this section here, you can see this is where the storage system is. Or not the storage system, but the collection system, I should say. And then what you'll do is hit the button. And again, similarly to the sugarcane farm, the carts, they go on their way around the system. They'll eventually circle back. And then once they do circle back, the bamboo will be shot out into some water streams, which we will be able to see down here. There you go. So the bamboo shoots out into the water streams. And those water streams actually carry the bamboo all the way out of the system. And it goes under the ground and up through a tube that is just inside of this wall somewhere. Just there, look, you can see it. Oops, we're going to need to get out of here quickly. So up through that tube and then into a circle of water. So a loop of water that then dispenses the bamboo down into a... Wait, did we put those the right way around? Oops, I think the mossy actually goes down one step. I'm being a bit pedantic here, but it's for good reason. We want to keep everything looking good, right? And then the bamboo, as I say, will just eventually end up in these chests here, which then fill up these carts. And these carts are all connected to a super smelter, which we can see in the back here. So this super smelter has around 100 furnaces, just shy of 100 furnaces, I think, in total. And what you want to do is place any smeltable items into the carts that are labeled with the iron ore. So we will just grab some stone here, separate it into 4 stacks like this. And then the carts that are labeled with the iron ore, you can fill up with anything that you'd like to smelt. So we'll just go ahead and put the stone in there. Oops, like so. And then you can just send the carts on their way. So those carts will obviously disperse the items that are going to be smelted. And the other carts will disperse the bamboo to smelt the items. So if we're quick, we can actually head over to the other side of this thing, go down into the storage collection system at the end by using this hatch, go down the ladder, and then you will see that items begin flowing in. So this thing does smelt at a ridiculously fast rate. It is slightly limited by the fact that hoppers are in use, and hoppers are relatively slow at transferring items, but Nonetheless, it does a great job, as you can see, of continuously popping smelted items into this storage chest, which we can then access and do with what we please. So we'll just quickly go back and stop this thing from running, because we don't want these carts perpetually running just in case we unload the area and it causes them to bug out. I don't want to have to go in there and reset them, so we'll just go ahead and turn all of the levers off and they should eventually come to a stop. There we go. And then we'll get one final aerial view of the bamboo farm itself and the area that surrounds it just before we head off on our way. So this is the... It is a building, right, but it's only there to kind of seclude and hide the technical aspects of this build, just because we don't want them on display. They look rather ugly. And then the farm itself has this bamboo... Not bamboo, a jungle-themed wall is what I'm looking for, that runs all the way around the outside. Still requires a lot of work, as do a lot of things in the world, but at the moment, I really do like it, and it produces tons of bamboo and allows us to smelt items at a ridiculously fast rate. So from here, I'm trying to think about where we should go next. I'm thinking the next logical step is probably to head over to the Guardian Farm, and the Guardian Farm actually is quite a distance away. But before we do that, actually, here's one thing that we can check out. I kind of forgot about this. So this is a deep storage cache, right? And this thing stores a specific type of item. So specifically, this one stores stone. And that is why the internal design features a lot of regular stone. So what you can do with this thing is you can either hit this button to receive a single stack of items. So if you give it just a second, it will in fact dispense exactly 64 stone. So it's kind of slow, but it does eventually get the job done. So all of these chests on the inside, they will eventually contain items as long as we continue to fill them up. But you can see here comes the stone. And then once they stop bobbling around, we will show that this is exactly a stack. So here it goes. It's still going. And that should be about it, right? There you go, look, a stack of stone. And you can refill this thing by opening the hatch, throwing the stone back in, and it will automatically go back into the system. And as well as being able to dispense a stack at a time, you can pull the lever and it will just continuously dispense items until you are satisfied with what you've got. So you can kind of just stand here and get filled up continuously like so, which again is another good feature. So it's got dual control. You can either have a stack or as many as you need. And then once again, if these items aren't required any longer, you can kind of just throw them in and off they go. So as I was saying, we will now move on to the Guardian Farm. The Guardian Farm is a little bit of distance away, and we haven't been there in a while actually, but it does require some flight. So what you want to do is kind of head off in this diagonal for a few, well, around 1,000 blocks or so, and you'll eventually get there, but I'm not going to bore you with the journey. I will skip right to it. We're just approaching the farm. You can see it right there. So this is the exterior of the farm, but we want to actually get on the inside. So we've created this small island here, which is kind of a station, I suppose. We've got a station right here that allows us inside of the farm. Temporary storage. I need to get rid of this still, but quite a cool looking area if you ask me. So what you can do is, again, hop in the cart, press the button, and you will be sent down into the Guardian Farm interior. And this place is pretty cool. Again, this is one of my favorite builds. We did something that I haven't seen done before, so it's quite an original design in my opinion, and you will soon see why. So there's two ways to go. Once you hop out of the cart, you can either head into this room, or you can go upstairs, and upstairs is where the killing happens, so we'll head up there first. And what you want to do is you want to pop these down, walk over them, pop those back up. And you can pop these up or down, it doesn't really matter. These are just in place to stop you from getting knocked back when you hit the Guardians. But what you'll do is wait for them to build up, and they will come pretty quickly because this farm is quite an efficient design. Who was this from? I think Cub Fan. This is a Cub Fan design. So anyway, once they all gather up like this, you can start swinging the sword and killing them. And then you want to exit. And you will see that this thing right here is obviously a pixel art guardian, and eventually items should begin to pour out of the eye into some hoppers down below, and we'll head down there to check out where they go from this point. And we can also throw in some of the extras that we accidentally picked up here. So they come out of the eye into the hoppers, and then as I say, we'll kind of just do this. And they get shot up these tubes here, so either on the left or on the right. You can see them coming up through the system now. And then we've got a silo setup. So the first one contains the shards, middle one contains the crystals, end one contains the cod, and then any overflow storage will head into these chests here. So this is the storage system. And of course, this is the original design that I was talking about, the pixel art, which dispenses items into the hoppers here and then into the storage system. So it's kind of a needless system, but it really does look cool. I hope you guys agree. I really like this. So that's pretty much it for the Guardian farm. There isn't really much else that happens here. Aside from the fact that we do have a little dog upstairs, which I believe is called Guardian. It's kind of a little pun because, you know, he's the guardian of the Guardian farm, but the Guardians are also called Guardians. The dog is called Guardian, so it's kind of like a little joke. It's a bad one, but, you know, we'll go check him out just to make sure he's okay. And he should be sat at the top here. I think I saw him on the way in. Yeah, there he is. So Guardian right here. And we've also got some turtles on the island, as you can see as well, which is quite nice. So we'll head back towards main base now and go into the Nether so that we can take a look at the Guardian farm. We're at the Guardian farm, Hocus. We're not going to be looking at the Guardian farm in the Nether. We're going to be looking at the gold farm, and then we'll take a trip over to Oasis. Okay then, guys, let's get into the Nether using the portal here, and you'll have to excuse the noise. It's very loud. Here we go. Aha. Okay, so once you're in the Nether, you will appear in this region right here. So first of all, you can come through this corridor and up the ladder. This will take you above the bedrock ceiling, which is where the gold farm is located. It's the perfect location to put it, really. It's easy to control spawns up there. And again, this is not my design. This is an Ilmango design. So if you want to build something similar, and I highly advise that you do, this thing is awesome. Go to his channel, Ilmango, Ilmango. You've probably heard of him. He makes all kinds of crazy things, and this is one of them. So you can either climb the ladder here to get to the top, or you can fly, which is the little bit more easy way to get up there. Doesn't take as much time. Then you want to come into the area in the middle here. Probably go into your sound settings and just do something like this to get rid of the cart sounds. And then we want to find ourselves a snowball. So once you got the snowball in hand, you want to take the ladder, open the trapdoor up, and throw this thing at one of the pigmen. That will anger them all, and eventually they'll come towards the center, and ultimately their lives will end, pretty much. And then the XP comes into the center here so that we can collect it. And then once we're done, we can kind of just jump down here, wait for everything to clear up, wait for the pigmen to stop chasing us, which they will after we jump back down into this section of the farm. Or at least I think they will. They seem to be coming still. And that is gonna about do it. And then once you're done, you will see that all of the items are being dispensed into cobwebs, which keeps them within this block here, so they won't stray too far. And then down at the bottom here, we've got some collection hoppers. And then those items are sent into a series of shulker box storage systems. And we'll explore those quickly. Okay, so on this side, we are actually out of shulker boxes, and this is the rotten flesh side. So if we open up one of these guys, you can see it's full of rotten flesh. So once the shulker box is full, it gets sent down into this double chest here. So this will eventually fill up with shulker boxes of rotten flesh if we give this thing enough shulker boxes, which we currently haven't. So we've got a bit of backlog in the silo. And then on the front here, we've got ourselves the gold nuggets. So again, we've just got shulker boxes with gold nuggets in. And then finally on this side, we've got ourselves the gold ingots shulker boxes. So no full ones at the moment. We've got this one right here, which has around half a shulker box in, which isn't bad, right? Not bad at all. So we want to put that guy back there. And then eventually what we'll do is we'll have a system over here which smelts down the swords into nuggets. In the moment, any of the swords and other drops that we can't store in the shulker boxes here will just be disposed of in the lava block, I suppose. But we will eventually get round to smelting those swords and hopefully making a bit more gold because, you know, you can never have too much, right? And then back at the portal, you can choose to head in a different direction to get over to Oasis, which is our small village project that we've been working on. And the way you can do that is to fly into this 3x3 corridor that we've got dug out. If you just fly all of the way to the end, you will find a second portal, which will take you to Oasis. So we'll just fly on over there. It doesn't take too long, so we'll do it on camera. Okay, almost there. There's a few gaps you have to fly through, and then here's the portal. So open up the trap door. Through the portal we go, and as I say, this is the village project that we refer to as Oasis. So once at Oasis, you will come out in this location here. We've got a few houses built. There's villagers and iron golems everywhere, as you would expect for a village. So the main fixture that we've got here at the moment is the church, and I really like this. So it's the Church of Oasis. My bed is supposed to be up there, but it seems to have been hijacked by villagers. And if we come in the church itself, we can go through the door here, out the back, and then there's a staircase. This flag right here is, or the banner I suppose you'd call it, right? It is a banner after all. This is the banner of Oasis, the red, orange and yellow. You can see we've got a stained glass window with similar colors. And if we make our way all of the way to the top, we come out into the bell tower, which of course features the bell. We can ding that. Doesn't really have any effect on them from up here, but that's okay. And then it gives you a nice little view of the village itself. So all the way around Oasis, we've actually got a raid farm. I'll quickly show you that right now. We can get out of here. So any raids that come into Oasis, they will fall into this water stream kind of deal, and it will push them down into a killing chamber, which is buried under the village itself. And again, this is something that needs a lot of work still. Oasis is just an ongoing project, something that's happening in the background kind of. We don't do too much work here at the moment. But if you come down into this basement kind of area here, the raids will end up in this 3x3 area, and eventually they will die, and the raid will be taken care of for you without you having to do any work. So it's kind of a lazy raid system, you know. It's pretty much only used to get the Hero of the Village trait, because you don't really gain any emeralds from it since you aren't the one doing the killing. But either way, it helps to take care of those raids if it's something that you don't want to bother taking care of for yourself. So I'll quickly take a small run around and we can look at a few of the villages. We've got this leather works here. It's got a couple of the leather workers in it. And we actually had a huge ravine that ran under the village, but I covered it over. It's somewhere around here. But as I said, we got rid of that just because, you know, you had the villagers falling in there. Look at this guy. You had the iron golems falling in there, and really it just wasn't convenient to have around. And then finally we've got this sheep pen where I've been gathering all of the wool to make the beds, because I've liked to use the yellow beds. I'll quickly show you the inside of one of these houses here. We'll try and get away from that creeper just in case he's still following us or in the area. So we'll go into this one. And you can see we've got a couple beds in here. This one's got kind of like a dual entrance. This one's slightly different. We've got 3 beds in there, just 1 entrance. But these houses, as I say, they're just there to allow the villagers to breed, to make sure that they can keep populating the village and that they've got somewhere to sleep. And then finally, this is the cemetery, which contains a few inside jokes, which you'll probably understand if you have watched the series. So we've got Gemma here, Moo Moo, we've got Parrot and the Ender Dragon, and finally Hocus Pocus. So one for me there, and you'll get that, as I say, if you've been watching the series. Alright guys, that's pretty much it then for the world tour. I think we've covered everything today, and if I forgot something, I'm very sorry, but you'll have to wait another 50 episodes to see that. So hopefully I didn't forget anything. I don't know how I could forget anything. I mean, most of the builds that we covered today are pretty significant, so they'll be hard to forget, right? Anyway, I've got one last thing for you guys today. This is a little bit of a surprise, something we didn't cover in any of the episodes. And you guys might have... I've shown this to you guys, but I haven't pointed it out. It's been on screen. You can see that lever down there. It's been on screen. You can also see there are a few dispensers in the river there. Those have also been on screen. Nobody said anything about them, however. But we've got one little finale for the world tour. So if we flip the switch... and off we go. We've got a bit of a firework display over the river. So I thought that'd be something fun just to add in at the end for you guys. Looks quite cool. I only had 3 different colors in high quantities. So we've got blue, white, and green over the river. I have no idea why those colors were the ones we had the most of, but they were. And that is pretty much that. So as I say, guys, that's the end of the world tour. Hope you enjoyed that little surprise there at the end. We'll just flick that guy off. We might need to make a few changes to that system, or use rockets that have a bit more of a flight duration, because they didn't get very high there at all, did they, before they all exploded, which meant that they all exploded in a similar area. But we can do something a bit more interesting with that in the future. Anyway, guys, take care. That is the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it. I will see you in another video or stream sometime soon. Bye for now.